Well, welcome, Jessica. Nice to meet you. My name is Kelsey.
Nice to meet you too.
How was your travels here? You find the office okay?
Yeah, I did.
Good. Glad to hear it. Before we begin, I just wanted to start with letting you know a little bit more about confidentiality. I know you signed the papers, but I just want to go over briefly with you. Of course, everything that you're going to share with me will stay between us unless I need to get advice from a colleague, but it won't leave this office. The only breaches to that I will say is if there's any abuse to suspected or known abuse to children, the elderly, or individuals with disabilities, as well as if there's any intent to harm others or yourself. That's my judgment call on getting the right resources involved at that time. But do you have any questions on confidentiality?
So you can't tell my parents any of this, right?
No.
Okay.
Unless, of course, it's to harm them or yourself.
Oh, right.
Then that one will stay between us. But I just wanted to ask briefly, what brings you in here today?
My roommates kind of encouraged me to seek some help. Been very down lately, having troubles focusing, going to class, being around other people. Just I feel sad, tired all the time. I just don't want to be around anyone.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that you're going through that. But is there anything that's you've noticed helps you feel better when you're in these sad states at all, or?
Talking to my sister and my best friend from back home. I also really like art, so going to museums or, any art festivals, really enjoy that. I really enjoy that myself, so.
Not doing that much. Did you used to do that more frequently?
Yeah, I used to, go a lot with my ex, and I used to paint a lot.
And has anything happened and resulting in you not really doing it as frequently, or?
Well, we broke up, so I'm going through that.
I'm sorry to hear that. Just before we dive into that, I'm just curious, have you ever had any experience with counseling before, or any kind of mental health, support?
My parents took me to a pastor whenever I was younger in middle school, for some mental health counseling, but that's pretty much all that I've done.
So you said, with a pastor, are you pretty religious, or is your family religious? What's your religious association?
I'm not so much anymore. I stopped going to church when I moved to college, but my parents are Irish Catholic, pretty Orthodox. So.
Okay. So, does that cause you any kind of distress not really being religious with your parents being religious, or it's kind of okay in their eyes? How does that work out with the dynamic there?
They don't really know that I don't go to church anymore.
Okay.
It's a mess.
And just briefly, do you have any current health issues or any medical concerns?
I have a pretty significant loss of appetite.
Yeah.
Other than that,
have you had any serious illnesses or medical procedures that would result in your loss of appetite, or is that more recent?
more recent.
Yeah. Do you have any difficulties with your sleep at all?
Not really falling asleep, but I sleep a lot.
Okay. And how do you feel when you wake up?
I never feel fully rested.
And So you're still kind of fatigued in the mornings now? Not really. Like you got good sleep kind of thing, or?
Yeah, not really.
Okay. And how's your exercise? Do you partake in anything physically, or?
I was previously, but not anymore.
What did you do previously?
I go on bike rides, running, anything outdoors.
And just recently not really interested in doing any of that, or?
Yeah.
Okay. And how about, I know you said your loss of appetite, is it like entirely, or just you notice a decrease in how you used to?
Some days entirely, and then some days I can get some food down, but it's not like it used to be. The regular eating pattern, it's not there.
Okay. Do you have any history with any substance abuse, alcohol, or any over-the-counter medications?
I used to, take my parents' painkillers and take them when I was in high school and middle school, but I haven't done that since I went to college, and I socially drink, but that's all.
It's a pretty normal part of college.
Yeah.
And did you ever have any medical concerns or injuries, surgeries as a child, or to your knowledge it was pretty? Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about your family growing up?
Well, they're, pretty strict, like I said, very religious. Just typical Irish Catholic family.
Held you to some high standards, or?
Yeah, some pretty, unrealistic ones at times.
Okay. And how about your siblings? You mentioned your sister.
Yeah, I have a younger sister. We're 2 years apart, so we're pretty close. And then I have an older brother, but nobody really talks to him anymore.
Do you mind me asking why?
Well, my father used to be, pretty physically abusive to him, so I think he just kind of was done and ran away from us.
And was your father ever abusive to you in any physical, emotional, or sexual in the past?
Never physically or sexually. It's, sometimes emotionally, not always there.
Okay. How about your mom?
She's a bit neurotic. She likes things a certain way. We have an okay relationship, I would say.
But that's not where you would like it to be?
Yeah, I think I've just kind of accepted that we're different people.
Okay. That happens too.
Yeah.
Does anybody in your family have any history of like any mental illness or issues with substances? Some Irish like to drink a lot.
Yeah, my dad's a pretty big drinker. Pretty much all the men in my family.
Okay. But no other like mental illnesses or?
I think my mom was a little depressed for a while. She was on some kind of medication, but I'm just not really sure. We're not really open about it.
And I know you said you took some other painkillers growing up. Was there like any major medical that was going on with them, or just something that was around the house?
My dad has back pain, so
And what's your current employment status?
Just a server right now.
You're a server. And how about school? What's the last grade that you've completed?
Well, I will be a senior in the fall, so in college.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your major?
It is social work.
Oh, how do you like it?
I like it so far. Yeah.
What's your major field of employment? Just as a server, or have you done anything in social work at all yet? Or
Unfortunately not. I kind of have to, make my money to afford my living expenses. So I just do the serving for now.
understandably so, you gotta work and do life. So, and who do you currently live with?
I live with 3 other roommates.
Okay. And do you have a decent relationship with them, or you kind of just do your own thing, or how's? Obviously, they prefer you to come today, so I'm assuming they care somewhat about you.
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty great. I have a really good relationship with 2 of them, but one of them, I think, is a little uncomfortable with me.
And why do you feel that she's uncomfortable with you?
Because I am a lesbian, so I feel like she kind of thinks that I'm always looking at her or, attracted to her. So,
And that's not the case.
no.
So you said your theoretical orientation, you are, lesbian, but you described that you just got out of a relationship with an ex. How long ago was that?
It was about a month ago. Yeah, that was the first actual relationship with a woman that I've been in.
Okay. It's pretty significant for you.
Mm-hmm.
And how about previous relationships before that? You said with a woman, so.
I tried to date guys just because I thought that was the right thing to do. How I was raised, homosexuality is a sin for sure. So I tried. I was never sexually attracted or sexual with any of them.
Yeah. So no pregnancies or STIs in the past, or. And do you ever notice alcohol or drug use affecting your sex life? I know you said you drink occasionally. Did that ever affect your relationship with your partner?
No.
And I just have to ask, have you ever had any suicidal ideations or thoughts of committing suicide?
I've had thoughts, but it's never something that I feel like I could carry out.
I'm sorry to have those thoughts. Have you ever had any issues or thoughts of harming someone else?
No.
And so you currently aren't in any kind of spiritual or religious state, is what you said, or can
Yeah.
you clarify that for me?
Yeah. I mean, I do believe some things still, but just seeing how I've been treated for homosexuality and how other people have been um, in this religion, it really, really upsets me and just kind of turned me away from it.
Yeah. What experiences have you had that these other people have shown you about homosexuality?
Well, when I was in middle school, my parents found me with some lesbian pornography, and that's when I went and had to see the pastor, and I was greatly uh, scolded on it and just told that that's not okay and all the horrible things that can happen to you if you.
And how did that make you feel?
It made me feel really bad about myself, confused, just like I didn't feel like I ever chose to live, to be attracted to women, so why am I being, chastised about it?
Not very fair, honestly. And how do you feel now about your sexuality?
It's still very difficult for me to open up to people and tell people. Um, I still don't feel super comfortable with myself and how to tell people, and pretty much the only experience that I've had with my family coming, of them having some inkling of it was really horrible. So I kind of just keep it to myself.
Is that how you'd like it to be?
No. I definitely would like to feel more comfortable in my own skin and share that part of myself with the people I work with and people in my everyday life and eventually my family.
I think everybody wants to feel comfortable with, everyone that they're around, so that's pretty normal feeling. Um, uh, so what would you say would be your overall goal in therapy? With me, your time with me?
Just to not feel so bad all the time, to not be so withdrawn, and to be more comfortable opening up about my sexuality and feeling more comfortable with myself too.
And what do you think holds you back from that comfortability? Why do you feel that you withdraw? Is it just something that you've noticed or somebody's mentioned?
My roommates definitely noticed it after I broke up with, well, she broke up with me. So uh, it's it's been noticed that I'm not feeling myself anymore.
And I saw how your roommates, it seems like they're pretty predominant in your life. You have two of them that you're in relatively good standings with. Can you tell me more about your relationship with them?
It's really good. We've lived together for 2 years now, and they were actually like the first people I came out to at college. So they were the first people to know, and they were really supportive and helped me find this LGBT community that was on our campus. And the two of them even came with me for the first meeting, just so that I would feel okay and comfortable with being around people who were more kind of more so like me and understand my struggles. So
So it sounds like as much as you are uncomfortable, you have places and things like that where you can be comfortable with yourself and your sexuality. Seems like at least two of your roommates support you
yeah,
through the roof to, they're going with you.
yeah, and it has been a good difference from my home life to that. I'm very happy that I do feel somewhat comfortable in my own house. So
That's good. I'm glad you have that comfortability at home too. So with your overall goal being, not so socially withdrawn and more comfortable, how does that look to you?
um, just going out and doing the things that I used to enjoy doing. Um, just being able to talk about things that other people are able to talk to or about at work, like, oh, look at that good looking person at that table, or talking about their dating lives, or just being social in that way too, like being able to just fully disclose my life without feeling guilty and without feeling like I'm wrong, or
What makes you feel like it's wrong? Just from the church and your past experiences there, or
yeah, because I know in my heart it's not wrong. I know that it's for me. I know this is the right thing to do. It's just I'm kind of worried about other people and how they'll react to me.
So no one at your work knows about your sexual orientation at all?
I have one person who does, but that's because they know my roommates and kind of.
What's their reaction to it?
They're fine. Yeah, they were supportive too. Um,
So not everyone chastises your sexual orientation.
yeah, that's true.
It's like you have a little bit of support everywhere around you. Just kind of wish that it was accepted everywhere, but you can't always change people. Just like you can't change your sexual orientation.
That's true.
So, what things do you, if in your life you could have changed if you weren't feeling this withdrawal and this depressive state?
I definitely think I would be going to class. I'd be more productive at work. I'd be out of my room a little bit more and interacting with my roommates more. Uh, Going out and actually doing things that I have enjoyed in the past. So not crying and being wanting to be alone.
In cognitive behavioral therapy, which is what I try to take my theoretical approach towards, we more so work with, your thought processes as well as your behaviors and kind of how that affects your emotions. For instance, some people might think, I'm not good enough, and no one's going to love me, and your behaviors, sometimes is your body's way of reacting to any kind of like depression or emotional state that you're into. So it's kind of just full circle with your thoughts, your behaviors, and your feelings. So it's kind of the approach that I like to take. So I will focus on, some behaviors, some thought processes, some things like that that we can do to work on the goals that you want to achieve here. So, um, but so of the few things that you want to get out of therapy, which one would be the most predominant thing? I know you said comfortability and your social withdrawal, or which one would be like the most important for you?
Probably my comfortability.
Something we can work on. Um, what I know you keep saying, or I keep hearing that you don't feel like others will support you and things like that from your past experiences, but it seems like more recently you found some support in a lot of areas, be it like your roommates, your friend at work, your LGBT community. Is there any other resources that you would feel like comfortable expressing that in?
I think right now that's I would like to work more at like work on sharing that and maybe some classmates that are, my friends.
Is your, you said the LGBT community is at your school, so do you ever see any of those people on campus, or?
Yeah, I have before. I've seen them out and about too, so I talk to them. I have a good relationship with them, so.
Do you ever hang out with them outside of the community group? And I know you said you see them on campus. Do you ever do any extracurricular activities, maybe like the artwork that you like to do? You ever think of maybe trying to branch out more with them and the activities that you like, knowing that they're accepting?
Well, they've definitely invited me. I just think I've kind of been using this breakup as like an excuse not to be around anybody. And the reason why we broke up was because I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell other people. So I wasn't out like she was. So it kind of just put us on different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to to, hang out with people who are comfortable and have come out. And so I definitely think that's something that I could do is spend some more time with them, figure out their struggles and how they've overcome them.
I think that's definitely something you can do. What do you, sorry. I'm very sorry to hear that your breakup was a result of being on two different places in your life. But I definitely think that moving forward, that you can have successful relationships no matter what level that you're on. Just maybe wasn't the right person for you. I know it doesn't feel that way, but so in your work friendship circle there, I know you only one person knows, but do you feel comfortable with anybody else understanding or knowing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be able to tell a few more people. So, yeah, I do think that there are people that I feel like probably already know, but I just need to verbalize it. And like I said, just be more comfortable sharing that information.
What goes through your head when you're, or what thoughts are going on when you don't want anybody to know, or, you said people you think have an inkling to it, but what are you thinking in order to not tell them?
I'm just thinking they're gonna reject me. They're gonna think that I'm wrong, that I'm the sinner, that gross, that I'm always checking them out,
And what makes you think those things in the past? Did somebody said that to you? Or just specifically in the church?
Just mainly in the church. Everybody, I feel like especially this generation, has been very accepting, and I feel like as a society we're moving toward everybody feeling more comfortable, and human rights campaign. It's nice to see that people are supportive.
So then maybe not everyone is going to think that way. Kind of like the cognitive processes that I was mentioning earlier, that you don't, catastrophizing your thoughts and things like that. Not everyone's going to feel that way telling them. I don't feel that way about you, you told me. So it's already one person.
Good example.
So maybe that's something that we can work on, kind of changing those cognitive processes and getting you out there a little more socially and things like that, even if it's with people that, don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to be, more active and just myself again.
Yeah. I want you to be yourself again too. I'm wondering if your roommates would like to do any of the activities that you like to do between the art and the museum, or if they'd be supportive in that aspect and trying to do some activities with you.
Yeah, I mean, they're really active, and they still, go and do activities together, and they try to get me up and going, and I've just been kind of, stuck, but I finally feel like I'm ready to not be stuck with that anymore. So it's been about a month, so I'm ready to, yeah.
You think you want to do something maybe a little smaller in scale just to start off, and maybe do like a girls' night in where you kind of just paint together and do something at the house collaboratively and a little more socially. Maybe invite some of your friends from the LGBT community, everybody that seems to support you and get you a little more comfortable for the time being at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a really good idea, doing something that I enjoy around people who for understanding and maybe opening up some dialogue with multiple people about, you know, how to kind of transition into living the way that I want to live and being comfortable in my own skin and just being out there enjoying life and not being distraught over not coming out and just
Something that
breaking
you
it up.
can't change,
Yeah.
kind of come to terms more with it. I'm just curious if you would be interested in doing a little homework assignment for me. I don't know if he really likes that term, but just kind of being aware of the thought process whenever you feel like telling somebody, but kind of hold back a little bit more, like what's going through your head at that point, or why you think that this such and such person would feel rejecting, and or like that you're gross or things like that. Just kind of seeing what thought processes go on prior to actually telling them. So you can kind of address that a little bit further and get you into a more comfortable state before putting yourself out there, because that is scary. I understand that. Do you think that's something that's reasonable that you can do?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good first step.
Just kind of be more in tune with yourself. I also was curious if you would just do one more thing for me, and just kind of write down one or two, positive affirmation things about you. I think reading them back to yourself, it would make you feel better, and thinking about yourself a little more positively. Like I said, between the cognitions, the behavior of actually like writing something out and like helping you feel better. I think that would be a little helpful in your situation.
Okay.
Something you can do.
Sounds good.
Is there anything else that you want to share with me today, or?
I think we covered a lot.
Good start.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of good things going for you. So.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'm just curious, when would be the next time that you'd like to meet, or?
If we could do the same time next week, I'm typically free this day, so.
I have that available. You don't have any issues with the homework, right?
I'm a nerd.
You can also, if you feel comfortable, look into, cognitive behavioral therapy in your own time, any reading or things like that if you'd like to, just to kind of get an understanding of the process here and things like that. It's a lot different than your pastor kind of shunning you and things like that. We do.
Oh, good.
But it's very nice to meet you, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
See you too.